Well, folks, it's about that time, and I got tagged this for today. This says, which of these invasions are causing the most damage to humanity? Now, if we're particularly sticking to the versions of them that are shown, I don't believe Starro's that much of a threat. I mean, sure, Starro can unleash small versions of himself that can take over people's bodies. So yeah, he can do it to a mass scale, but this can be circumvented by just wearing a mask. Yeah, I'd say Starro is dangerous in the terms of being a giant-ass kaiju. This would barely be an afternoon for the military. I mean, this thing lost to being eaten from the inside out by rats. Its eye was pierced by Harley in a regular spear. Any pain it feels, the army of people it's taken over would feel the same thing, so why wouldn't they just bomb the hell out of this thing? If this is consistent with Starro lore, you can just take the star off and the people will be fine. If the butterflies from Peacemaker full on invade, that's just it. I mean, we've seen if they just take to the streets, the world is done. If they fly into your mouth, everything that you were is gone. The butterflies could literally be anybody. They're just that good at hiding. This is the suspected amount of butterflies we already believe are here. They got it.
I'm starting to miss cartoonishly evil villains in the comic book movies.
Bro was spitting nothing but facts because when OG Goblin was crashing out, that was funny as hell, I'm not gonna lie. Harry redefined petty when he got his memories back. The first thing this man did was make MJ deny Peter's proposal, then watched her do it across the lake, then had Peter meet him at the coffee shop to talk about it. Just to be like, hey bud, I hate to tell you, but the guy she's leaving you for is me. While talking about how good the pie is. Then as Peter looks back, he hit him with the, yeah, I got my memories back, bitch. And bro really disappeared like a horror movie villain. What is he doing? Because then he just knew that Peter would come to the house butthurt, ready to fight. You want to talk about cartoony villains? Blonsky is definitely one. Say whatever you will that leads up to this conflict, but it basically resolves to my dick is bigger than yours. That was all his fight with Abomination was about, and you can't convince me otherwise. You don't get more cartoony than crashing out over a guy forgetting your name. I just want to be seen and be needed is a wild ass reason to start murking people. Bro even spawned a logoed suit off hate.
I was the one giving the bandits supplies.
I'ma kill him. I'ma do him just like I did Larry.
Man, recently I've been playing the Telltale games too, and some of these people need to be put in a pack. And spoiler alert ahead, but Ben can eat ass and die. You got people's families killed and eaten because you thought you could reason with bandits? Lily Ben had that man pegged and he stayed lying about it. The big homie Doug died saving his ass too. Oh God, I let him go and hit him with the long live the king. I wanted to look him in the eye socket as I let him go. And the same thing went for this big bitch Larry. Since the sheer moment he came on screen, he had been nothing but a foul-mouthed bastard. With no confirmation, this jackwagon wants to murk a kid without even checking for a bite. When this buttermilk bastard started to have a heart attack, I was like, oh no, I ain't doing shit. That's in God's plan. Talking about some help him with some CPR, I stayed my ass to the side. Cool boy, you know how long I've been waiting for this? I'm about to make a name for myself here. Boy, I sided with Kenny so quick, boy, screw Larry. But folks, it's about that time, and I got tagged in this one today. And this says, who would win the giant robot battle, Megas XLR or Symbiotic Titan? In my opinion, I would give it to Symbiotic Titan. Much as I love Megas XLR, I really can't see it doing too much against the Titan's durability. Even with the absurd and random extensive arsenal Megas had, we've seen him struggle to harm advanced technology. There were times where Symbiotic Titan would just sit back and get beaten on for hours and damn near take no damage. He was able to withstand a shockwave powerful enough to create a constellation. Meanwhile, Megas' durability is random at best. If Coop is doing too much, Megas can overheat and just stop working all entirely. Titan is dogging him combat-wise, seeing as how it's just as good and as fast as Lance in giant form. Most of Megas' fights are won off sheer luck. Meanwhile, most of Titan's enemies are sent to counter them directly and they still win. With Octus's advanced AI, he would give them the strategy, the counter, and the weaknesses of their opponent for them to win, along with the best weapons and skills needed to do it. I can definitely see Symbiotic Titan taking the dub.
What happened to Mortal Kombat 1?
The game's dog shit, that's what happened.
Man, he's not lying because since this game has come out after a while, I've had no vested interest in wanting to play it. This is a Mortal Kombat game with Homelander in it, along with Omni-Man 2. I even managed to put Peacemaker in here, and yet I'm bored as shit. And I'm on the same side as where Tony had complaints because of the fact that does any of this matter with all this multiversal shit? To a certain extent, I liked it because that meant anybody could come back at any time. But now it's crazy that somebody can just die and come back as a variant. Where's the stakes in Mortal Kombat here? Which is why I wasn't particularly excited to talk about this new DLC because it's just the same characters that we got from the cameo system who should have been in the game. God, I hate the cameo system so much. Imagine bringing someone like Motaro back just to not be able to play him. Ain't bringing people like Movado back the whole point of a reboot. Why is he not playable? I don't give a damn about Ghostface now. MKX was the time to bring this man in. The hype for this is long past for me. The T-1000 is cool, but we already had a Terminator. And I personally don't care for Conan. I don't know, bro. Well, folks, it's about that time. And which one of these characters would you let into society? Honestly, Kira is the only viable option to let into society. As messed up as it is, every day we have walked past a serial killer at least once. These types blend and mesh into society because they need to go unnoticed. Kira is your average guy who works a job and he's an average citizen that people like. He's methodical. He does the same thing every single day. Even though he's a freak, he's nothing more different that we haven't already seen in the real world. Excluding the fact that he has a very powerful stand, he'd rather just live his life normally. In fact, bringing him into society really doesn't change anything. He probably stays as just some small town, but space out his work to where no one would suspect what he's doing. This man went years without getting caught because his power just vaporizes anything he touches. Let's assume this is the version of him that has bites to dust, and no one is ever catching him. This is a man who has all the power in the world to never get caught, but all he wants to do is just exist. He'd be straight up a menace to some town. For society as a whole, I think we'd be fine. Yeah, I'm going with Kira. Well, folks, it's about that time, and I got tagged this one today. And it says, you're representing Spopovich in court. What is your argument to help his case? My client is innocent and if anything justified in his actions. People, the last time I checked, this is the world's martial arts tournament. Greatest fighters the world has to offer congregates together to beat the living crap out of each other. By all accounts, everyone here knows how to fight and they know exactly what they're getting into when they step in the ring. Spopovich's match was standard, yet he was getting his ass waxed by Vidal. Yes, while he was acting strange, the sheer moment Vidal got any pushback, she went to immediately murder him. In front of a live audience, also including women and children, she broke his neck because he got a couple of hits off on her. Everyone else's knowledge, this is a normal person she just murked because she had something to prove. The fact that he came back and absolutely beat her ass was justified. He was right to put the beaters on her. Hell no, you're not getting that ring out, you just tried to murk him. We've seen brutal fights in this tournament before, this is nothing new. And she wanted to stay in. If anything, this was a mismatchup. That's on the tournament, not him. But folks, it's about that time, and am I the only one who genuinely wants to see more of Smoker? Back in the Grand Line, this was the guy who was hounding the shit out of Luffy and his friends. This guy is supposed to be that cop who's the polar opposite of Luffy. He's one of the choice few Marines who's not a bad guy, and they like him. Doing his job, yes, but at the same time, he knows right from wrong. Earlier on in the series, we saw that he had the ability, strength, and the skill to match Luffy in every way. Ever since they have touched the new world, this man has been getting holed left and right. I mean, this man is made up of living smoke. He should have one of the most broken devil fruits in the series. Being in a closed-off building with him should be a death sentence. The moment they introduced Haki, he's been getting shit on left and right. These are some premium L's he's taking, and I expect more because he's a vice admiral. After that L he took from Doflamingo, he should have learned something from this. Shit, he need to stop playing and train with Garp, because there is no way some shit like this would happen and I was a vice admiral. I have access to the strongest Marine helping people get like this. I need him to do better. He too cool for him to be this sorry. Well, folks, it's about that time, and I got tagged in this for today. And it says, in this team battle of robots versus aliens, who would win? I've thought about both sides extensively, and I'm more inclined to believe that the aliens would win. I mean, Zoidberg and Bender might as well both be considered liabilities to the teams. From the what-if perspective, it's been hypothesized that Zoidberg would defeat Bender. And Zoidberg has defeated other robots considered more dangerous than Bender, so I definitely think that he would beat him. Them is a straight-up wild card, so I don't even know where he would stand in all this. Trying to place Jenny anywhere is really hard because her stats are all over the place. Durability is questionable as hell, and she gets torn up by her villains consistently. I mean, shit, half the time just spray her with water and you win. Roger has super speed that nobody else on this list can keep up with. Definitely see him just punching a bunch of holes in Baymax before he can put on the suit or just splashing Jenny with water. Then that leaves the Iron Giant. Then the other team has Megamind, who honestly solos his whole team alone. He have no defense against Megamind's dehydration gun. He could give himself or them godlike power at any time. If Iron Giant was disassembled by a nuke, what do you think the power of the sun would do to them? Aliens win. Well, folks, it's about that time, and I got tagged this for today. And it says, which one of these cartoon snakes will come out on top? First of all, Mr. Snake is definitely out first. Unless he fighting a safe, he not too useful here. Plus, he doesn't really have the combat potential or skills to go against the others, unless throwing a tantrum is a skill. Next up, I would say is Ka, because Ka is dangerous because not only is he a massive snake, but he also has the hypnosis power. But he has to be close, and then he has to maintain eye contact with you, and it's easily avoidable. Plus, Ka is a cowardly opportunist. The others would bully him. If I had to give the dub to anybody, it would definitely be Rattlesnake Jake. I can already hear you guys saying, what about Master Viper because she knows Kung Fu? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but guns beat Kung Fu, and this man's a gunslinger. I mean, Kung Fu Panda 2 is literally about the greatest Kung Fu masters being taken out by a big gun. They were basically shooting cannonball fireworks at them, and they said that this shit would be the death of Kung Fu. They can't handle that. What do you think a machine gun gonna do? They needed nothing less than an army to go up against Jake, and they had guns. Yeah, I definitely say that Jake wins. Well, folks, it's about that time, and I got tagged in this one today, and it says, you only have 2 hours to complete your science project. Who do you ask for help? Rick is out immediately because he is the absolute last person I'm asking for help for anything. He would tell me not to do it in the most condescending way possible, then go on a rant about how school is dumb in general. While I don't disagree with anything, he'd probably say, this doesn't help my grade, I still needed to get done. Then if he did decide to help me, it would just end with some messed up consequence just to prove some sick point. Next one out is Professor Farnsworth, most definitely. He'd probably forget midway through what we were doing. He'd leave, come back and say, good news, everyone. Come back with some crazy ass experiment that's probably gonna murk somebody. Or it would explode, and I'm not risking that. Wouldn't mind asking Doofenshmirtz for some help, I just know that as soon as I do, platypus with a fedora on is just gonna be waiting outside to kick his ass. How do I explain that a platypus came crashing through my door, that's why I couldn't complete my homework? I'd definitely be more concerned about him fixing the shit. I need something simple done, I'm going to Professor Utonium. Sure, we can get something done in 2 hours before weird shit starts. Go with Utonium. Well, folks, it's about that time, and my man Carlos wants to know, which would I rather have, one devil fruit I could awaken, or all forms of hockey? I love devil fruits to death, but this is a hockey supremacy household to me. Kaido has already stated that no devil fruit could ever take over the world, yet hockey can and transcends all other devil fruits. Roger was living proof of that. This man was a menace. Not only was he king of the pirates with nothing but hockey alone, but he challenged Whitebeard daily. Their hockey clashes alone could change the landscape and split the sky. Look at one of the most powerful techniques we've seen from Luffy in the series. It's even that much more powerful because it has hockey coding. And look at the legendary figures of One Piece like Odin, who challenged Kaido with nothing but hockey alone and was winning. One of the scariest attacks the Yonkos have ever thrown was just a ball of straight hockey. The giant stayed throwing this move at people. After what we just saw with Garp, all I would be worrying about is mastering hockey. Because one hockey punch from someone like Garp did all of this. Imagine if he was in his prime, hockey all day.